Well, in all my years with Comdisco and IBM, I've probably been involved in 300 or 400 actual client tests. And in all, let's just pick a number. Let's say 400 client tests. In all 400 of those, the test was unrealistic because it was planned ahead of time. So here's how people would go through a test planning. They would say, when are we going to have the test? Let's get hotel rooms for all of our people. Let's make sure we have all the flights lined up. Let's make sure that we know exactly what our objectives are, and we plan our test to meet those objectives. Let's back up all of our information and ship it out to the recovery center in advance of the test. Totally unrealistic, Luke, of what's going to actually happen when a disaster occurs. So the biggest thing that I have been a proponent of as it relates to testing is to do more realistic testing. Leave some variables unplanned. Isolate some people at the time of the test and say, you can't participate because you were impacted by the disaster. But get some realistic experience with the testing. And why do people do that? Because a lot of business continuity planners are so focused on having successful tests so they can report back to management that we did a test, it was successful, because to most people, success is more important than learning and experience. And that's the biggest problem that I see with the whole testing process is people don't conduct realistic tests. They plan the test, they don't test the plan.
Yes, for us, the 3 tips are reality, reality, and reality. The scenario has to be very extremely closely tied to something that has actually happened to either your company or to a company you know very well in your industry to be effective. The other hard to do and kind of a routine and somewhat boring but extremely important in terms of the effectiveness of the exercise is how well you schedule it and who you get to attend. You have to have the right people in the room for it to work, and you have to have them all actually show up. So scheduling, good facilitation helps. Good flashy multimedia component. When you break the news or introduce the next development of the scenario, having a video file or a voice file or really pointed envelope with a message from somebody to somebody actually being at the table, it kind of pulls them in. Just find some tricks, whatever they are in your business, to pull them in. And finally, good follow-up. So schedule your follow-ups to the exercise at the same time as you schedule the exercise. Do your pre-exercise little test for the test or prep without giving away your scenario, then do your scenario around the exercise, and then do the follow-up, and then actually act, or at least try to, on what people told you.
Perhaps it's not just a single individual who should be designing the exercise, whether it's a tabletop walkthrough or whatever type it is. If you get a team involved and you actually kind of know what the gaps are, and you're getting the team that's participating in the exercise to come up with the results, then you have, instead of 1 or 2 people owning the exercise, everybody's got a part of it, they all have stake in it. And what we found to be successful are 2 things after the fact with exercises. One, we tend to use SurveyMonkey or somehow survey your participants in what their thoughts were, what the gaps were. And then also to develop some type of spreadsheet, a checklist of action items that come out of the exercise. For example, there's items that relate to communications, that relate to your people, your facilities, your supply chain, whatever it is, and you break down these action items into those categories, actually assign somebody a responsibility for follow-up put a target date there when they need to complete this item, and have it be blessed by your management, and share that with all the team participants.
People have an anxiety when it comes to a test. So if it's exercising and wellness and getting better, you need to give people quick wins, and they need to be successful, but you also need to challenge them in the exercises. And I think there's great benefit in leaving some things unresolved for them to think about and ponder in the future. I think the final success factor that most people do to varying degrees of success is that after-action report or post-mortem or follow-up after an exercise to evaluate what went well, what worked versus what you anticipated to work, and what value. So ask people, get some feedback and structure where you're open to ideas to everybody involved.